Hello everyone, my name is Samuel Marie Seram Kofi, student at the Department of Architecture. Welcome to today's episode of Real Insight by ArchInsights. Visiting us today at the Department of Architecture, KNUST Ghana, is the very esteemed, well-classed, top architect, our very own special guest, Sir David Adjaye. It's really an honor to have you on our humble set. We are looking forward to sharing some wonderful insights. We are architects in the making, how big architects actually. So it will really be an honor to learn some wise words from you. And there's this notion about arts and architecture. Over here in Kenya, there's this bias that the architecture students are all too known. They don't want to mingle with the art students, and there's this sort of disconnect between the Department of Architecture and then the arts department. So, and we studied some interviews that you did, and we watched your talks, and we realized that you have this connection with art and architecture. So we'd really like you to, if you could tell us why art should coexist with architecture or why it shouldn't.
Well, I think obviously you know that for me, arts and architecture are family members, cannot be separated. When I studied architecture, I actually chose to go to the Royal College of Art in the UK because it had an art school.
Really?
So I wanted to spend as much time as I could with the artists and the jewelry makers and the designers. Why? Because I didn't want to study architecture in a bubble on its own. I think for architecture to be profound, it has to engage first with all the other disciplines that are making the world. But also, architecture really, at its heart, is about listening and observing and understanding how the world is made, right? You can have lots of great references and the internet shows you many things, but actually that doesn't make you a good architect because everybody has that now. Everybody in the world has access to the internet. So just because you see the internet does not make you a good architect. I think architecture truly comes from the one who's able to understand different scenarios and experiences and different things, but also to understand what experimentation is. What do I mean by that? It's a very strange thing.
Right.
Experimentation is to have things that are beyond your immediate experience and to learn and understand that. And I think that artists, ironically, spend all their time experimenting in a way that architects don't. In architecture, we spend all our time trying to be professional.
Yeah.
Like we know the air conditioning system, we know how to do the tiles and the windows, and that is okay, but that doesn't allow us to experiment. And then when we think experimentation happens, we think it's about wacky forms or new shapes or computer programs. Those are tools, those are effects. Experimentation is when you find something that matters within your community or the culture that you're in that will drive a big change in your society. And I find that artists do that more than anyone else. So for me, spending time when I was at school, it wasn't so much that I wanted to go and be an artist, but I wanted to be in the conversation. So I would be in the cafeteria or in the bar. I would go to the artist events.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. I wanted to hang out with them because I wanted to know what was stimulating them and what was making them excited about. An artist has to sit there with a canvas or with some things and think of ideas. That's even harder than architects because at least we have a brief. Somebody needs something to respond. An artist has to think of why should I wake up and do something. So for me, that inquiring mind is a very interesting space.
That's really insightful. But then, if we focus more on the arts, does it take out the technical aspect of architecture? For example, in school, when you're given a scheme, you have some requirements. You're supposed to read like the plans, the sections, and like the elevations. So What if we focus on the art too much and we forget the technical aspect? I mean, it's the structure that will make the building stand.
Oh, that's such a good question. The thing about architects, unlike artists or plumbers or carpenters or anybody else, you cannot be a master of one thing. You have to be a master of all things. So to even say that you should only focus on one thing means that you don't understand what architecture is really about. Architecture is the master of all things. You have to know about how the market woman is selling her goods in the market, as well as knowing what the boardroom of a president might be like, right?
Very, very true.
You have to know both. So you don't have the luxury of actually just saying, oh, I want to just focus on one thing or I want to focus on the other. You have to know a bit of everything. So for me, yes, you have to know how a wall is made and how to put a frame up. But I would say as an architect, that is your basic requirement. When you know how to do that, that doesn't make you an architect. That just makes you as good as a contractor who can build it. Any contractor can put up a wall.
Yeah.
So just because you can draw it and say, I can do that, does not make you an architect. The architecture is the art that you add to the art of construction.
So,
right?
In simple terms, architecture is art and science.
Exactly. You can't separate the two. You can't exist one without the other. When you try, it becomes something else.
Caricature.
Caricatured, not rigorous, not engaged. And what we want is something that really engages us and inspires us. Be our better selves.
Very true. Our better selves.
Our better selves.
They are evolving every day. Okay, you made mention that you attended the Royal College of Arts and you've experienced their system of education.
Yeah.
And you've traveled the whole world.
I have, actually. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what would you say the ideal system of architecture education should be like?
At its core, architecture is something that, yes, you study, that you learn, and can be taught through manuals, through the internet, etc. But architecture is also experience. Unfortunately, I think that's what makes architecture quite hard, is that if you don't experience good architecture, you don't know what good architecture is. So you can look at it on the internet and admire it, but if you don't get a chance to visit, it makes it harder. That is for sure the truth. But I have to say that even though there are examples of good architecture in the world, it's not about seeing the examples that are in the world. It's also about seeing the examples in your world, the best of what's in your world. So, I don't mean for you to think that if you haven't traveled to see the things around the world, you will not be a good architect. In fact, an excellent architect can come out of learning the best of what comes out of their culture. And in fact, that person becomes more of an expert that people want to follow than the one who's been everywhere.
Yeah. That leads us to the principle of materiality.
Yes.
Using what's around you to build.
Exactly.
Really
Scarcity.
Yeah.
Scarcity is really important. There's something I will talk about in my lecture today. Okay. But I think in a world where extraction makes abundance of opportunity to things, scarcity becomes a word and a way to work which can become truly radical. Wow. Radical. I would say probably the most radical thing in the world right now is no longer using a robot or a computer. That's really? Actually, no, that's normal. That's actually now normalized. The construction industry is normal. You go to China, there are darkroom factories building things.
And the use of AI.
Yeah, and the use of AI. The AI is everywhere. Every kid can have AI.
Very true.
Right? So it's good to know it, but that's not radical anymore. What is radical now? What is true experimentation now? That's the question, right?
Yeah. Recently attended an earth workshop and then I had a chance to interact with Clay. Yeah,
isn't it amazing?
Very amazing. I was like, Clay has been around me my whole life and I never saw it From that point
Exactly.
of view, I learned how to build round earth walls,
There you go.
wattle and dab, and lay
There you
bricks.
go.
And then I was one with the earth.
There you go.
And it was very amazing experience.
Right.
And I think there's this trend of Sankofa and Ghanaian means going back to your roots. And
It's
like
one of my favorite words.
Yeah, and I like same as in I like the way architecture is gradually moving towards that light. You're not seeing clay as something bad or related to a poor status, but then it's rich, and I mean we are all made of clay. If you
In
think
the
about
end.
it, yeah.
In the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that you're right. It has been a battle for about 30 years to move towards fully understanding that all knowledge systems are valuable. There is no hierarchy in knowledge anymore. Every piece of knowledge, every piece of indigenous knowledge or high knowledge are the same. They create a value that we can use, and it's all about how we use it, right? It's how we use it is the issue. Yeah. So until we understood that indigenous architecture has the lowest carbon footprint, the healthiest environment created, we said it was primitive.
Yeah.
And we said it was not something we should look at. And now we know that actually it was actually the most advanced. When I go, wait a minute, biological materials, ecological materials.
Yeah.
Now we're turning back to it.
Sankofa.
Yeah. Exactly. But that should tell us a lot about how we need to look at our history and our knowledge.
Yeah. So KNUST, our Department of Architecture, right there, we are putting ourselves on the map, and it has produced highly esteemed architects, up and coming architects, and it connects Ghana to the world. And then I wanted to ask you right now that what unique responsibility, like a school for KNUST, should carry on to the next generation? What can we do better as a school, as a Department of Architecture?
Gosh, well, there's always so much to do. And there's never one set of things. But I think that KNUST is doing, from what I'm now hearing, is doing exceptionally well with what it has. I think understanding culture is embedded here. Understanding our indigenous history, a stewardship of the built environment, an understanding of the biophilic world. It's no longer nature. Again, that's Sankofa. Our ancestors knew how to live with nature.
They really did.
And now we've forgotten it, and in fact, we're even scared of it, which is very funny. We should be much more relational with nature. And I think that should be part of our architecture.
Amazing.
And I think that that's happening in the school. You have enlightened teachers who are pushing this agenda. So lucky are you guys.
And we have this course that's conservation. And we learn about protecting indigenous buildings, heritage, and putting our local buildings on the map.
Respecting them,
very well.
As teachers.
The last bonus question. What tip would you give to an up-and-coming architect, a student of architecture? What should we go for?
What we should go for? I think that when you look at the internet, you start to think that maybe architecture is about, the trends and the fashions, the parametric and, whimsy forms. That's not going to make you distinct in the world. If you are interested in being somebody who wants to do something to support the built environment, think about your own environment and how you can truly improve it, not by bringing something else from somewhere, but from growing from what you have, something unique that makes the world think, wow, we want to learn about that. The true success is to actually have the world see what you did out of the limits that you had, not what you could go and shop and buy and bring. That's not interesting, right? That's the most radical thing in architecture right now. And if you see the most important architects around the world that people are celebrating, all of them move from where they are and what their environment has taught them to what that can teach the world. So here in Ghana, we have such an abundant history,
rich culture,
rich culture,
very,
extraordinary built environment, incredible geography across everything from the Sahel to the coast.
yeah,
And we should be a birthplace of an extraordinary architecture that responds to these incredible environments.
because in the south usually we build with courtyards
Mm-hmm.
for the cross ventilation,
Mm-hmm.
the lightning,
And for the family life.
yeah, the
Yeah.
community. I
The
mean,
community.
in Ghana, in the south especially, everybody wants to be in everyone's business.
Mm-hmm.
So it facilitates that kind
We're
of
social
connection.
people.
Yeah, very social.
Yeah, and it's a way of protecting the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting, rich culture. So
Mm-hmm.
that brings us to the end of this very wonderful episode.
Thank you for this conversation.
Thank you for having me.
No, I'm very hopeful of the future hearing you ask the questions that you asked.
I'm honored, flattered. Yeah. See you on the next episode. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm inside. Get inside.
Thank you.
Thank you.